Cat on the loose.
Cat on the loose. Oh boy. We're doing good, folks. We're doing good.
Doing great.
Hi guys! So this week I am very, very excited to be showcasing for you the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. Now this palette, holy God, I have heard so much about this palette. I don't even know where to begin. Let me start off by saying that I love Anastasia Beverly Hills. I am a slave for her brow products. I love her liquid lip formula. I love everything she does. I want to preface that because I have no idea what to expect here, but there has been a lot of negative talk about the shadows in this palette. Aside from the fact that I love the brand, I am not a sponsored or paid or professional YouTuber. These are all my own opinions. I have nothing to do with the Anastasia Beverly Hills brand or any other brand for that matter. I'm very excited to try this palette and I hope it works out as well as I want it to. When I saw the colors for this eyeshadow palette, I nearly died. They are so beautiful, oh my God, and so different from what's already on the market. Let's just take a peek, shall we? Right? They're beautiful, more cool toned, warm eyeshadow palettes are having a moment right now in makeup, and that's awesome, and I don't think I'll ever get sick of them. But this is very, very cool, very unique. I nearly died when I saw it, and I cannot wait to try it out. You know, I wanted to mention this. I opened this palette previous to filming this. I didn't touch any of the shades. There's a couple nicks in my shadows, and one of the shades, Fudge, which is a pre-existing shade from the Anastasia eyeshadow collection, looks like it's been swatched. So if you can see, it looks like Fudge was at least touched, but there are nicks in Adorn, Fudge, and Electric, and a little one in Edge too, and I have not touched this palette. This was when I took it out of the sleeve. This is what it looked like. I don't know what that means. I've never experienced that before, so that's definitely a first. Let's get started, shall we? Now I wanna do everything normally, right? I wanna do everything like I usually do when I'm doing eyeshadow. So I'm gonna prime my eyes with concealer. Blended with this. How adorable is this little new beauty blender? So that just creates a nice base, neutralizes all the veins and colors in my eyes so we can start with a clear canvas. First I'm gonna be taking a big flat shader brush and using the shade Dawn, which is right here. That looks like a good lay down shade. Wow. Fallout has been what everyone has been complaining about with this palette, and they're not wrong. It coats the brush. Yes, lots of, okay, all right. But I was expecting that. I knew there was going to be kick up. A lot of pigmented shadows have kick up. That hasn't bothered me in the past. We'll see how extreme it is here. So. This first shade went down really well. It's definitely pigmented. It's smooth. I'm not having a problem blending it. It basically matches my skin tone, so that's not saying too much. So for my crease shade today, I'm really interested in trying this shade here, New Wave. It's like this really cool orangey tangerine shade almost. I like it a lot. Let's go in with my brush. Let's see what happens. That coats the brush, right? Coats the brush. Can you see the fallout? Lots, la la la, la la la. Wow, 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 wow. That's very pigmented. No shortage of pigment here, that's for sure. Again, blended out very well, and I mixed it with that original shade Dawn, right, that I put in my crease, and that was another complaint of these shadows, that they don't mix well together. Those two blended very well together. So, nothing bad to report so far, other than the obvious and well-known fallout kick-up issue. I'm dying to try these like bluey teal shades here. This one is Untamed and this one is Axis. So let's get that going. How do I want to do this? What do we think? I know what I want to do. I'm going to grab Untamed, which is more of this like teal greeny shade. And I take that on a flat packer brush. That's 2 dips. Very pigmented. And I'm going to place that in the outer corner of my lid. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna stop now because that's getting, wow. Okay, that's kind of insane how much pigment goes on, so you have to be really careful with these. I'm not complaining because usually shades like this take a really long time to build up, and that took me 3 seconds. That's pretty good. Let's go in with a little bit more near the lash line and bring it up ever so slightly. I don't want to bring it up too far into my crease because, like I said, this is very pigmented and I don't want to muddy up the crease too much. Same shade, Untamed. I'm gonna take on the inner corner of my lid. Good Lord. I don't know what to say. I don't have anything bad to say so far, other than the very, very real kick up the fallout, kick up, whatever you wanna call it, issue. I'm having no problem working with these shadows. That's really beautiful. Okay, I really wanna get access in there. I just wanna do that to define and darken what we already have going on. So I'm gonna focus access with a tapered blending brush, and then just with a more precise eye, place that in the outer corner, and I'm gonna work it into the lower crease a little. Those are blending well. It's really close to the shade that we put down before it, so I'm not expecting it to look drastically different, but it's a very pigmented shade. Okay, so for the first time, I'm seeing a bit of an issue. I tried to go in with that second blue shade called Axis on top of what we already laid down, which was Untamed here. Putting Axis on top basically took off some of the shadow that I had laid down before. So instead of making it more blue, it now looks really patchy and streaky and like it took off the shadow underneath it. I'm going to take that first blending brush that we used with New Wave, that pretty orange, yellow, tangerine shade, and blend out the edges of where it meets with the bluish green shades. I didn't love what that did. When you lay them down, it looks really pigmented, but when then you try to go in again or go in with another color, it almost wipes off the shadow that was on your eye previously. Let's move on. I'm going to use the brush that came with this palette. I'm going to use the smaller side, which looks like a small, sort of flat packing brush. And I'm going to put Adorn, which is this really pretty, like goldish, bronzy shade right in the center of my eye here. We're going to create a little halo effect, all right? Okay, so this shade has no fallout or kick up whatsoever. I mean, there's a little bit on the side there, but that was my fault because I wiped it with the brush. That's very pretty. I really, really, really like this color a lot. I'm so pleasantly surprised about these metallics. I haven't even used any sort of water fix plus spray situation, and they're very bright. I can see the metallic. Let's, for the kick of it, just spray this brush real quick and see how much stronger we can get this shade Adorn. Well, that definitely made a difference. So that's good to know that the metallic shades, at least Dorn, works dry and wet. Because I've definitely lost some pigmentation in the green, blue, teal shades that we've laid down, I'm just gonna go in again and blend out the halo a little bit and try to build that up one more time. All right, so I was able to go back in and build up that Untamed color, and that looks really good. I'm scared to go back in with Axis because that's what messed everything up the first time. For the sake of the video, I have to do it just to see if it happens again or if it was a one-time fluke. Eek. And let's see what happens. Okay, that worked. It didn't remove the shadow underneath. It's really pigmented. It's very pretty. I am living for these colors. Love them a lot. Because I want to try as many shades in this as I can, I'm going to really blow out my under eye with several shades that we haven't tried yet. Let's start with this pretty peach shade here called Roxy. I'm taking this on a Smith 220 brush, which is my favorite brush for under my eyes. Wow, that's really strong. Okay, let's take this beauty right here called All Star and do the exact same thing, but slightly less. That blended very well. I'm so pleasantly surprised so far, with the exception of the fallout. Not so good there. I want to also take this really beautiful, deep, like eggplant plum shade here called Rowdy. Run that along my very tight to my lower lash line. Just so I try the other end of this brush, I'm gonna go in with Edge, this really cool toned yellow, almost like a mustard yellow shade, with the blending brush part of this dual-sided brush that comes with the palette. I'm gonna go over New Wave, which is that more orange transition shade that we laid down, just to see how this blending brush works. It's much lighter than that New Wave shade. So I should have put this down first, but I wasn't expecting to use it, so that's why. Lastly, I just want to try the other two more metallic shades in the palette. Cube, which looks bright white, but I think it has like a pink shift to it. And then I'm gonna go in with Electric, which is this like gorgeous chartreuse. And I'm gonna put Electric in my inner corner. Let's take Electric first. Not quite as pigmented, not really, Maybe it's just not meant to be that intense. Oh, okay, wow, never mind. It's not the chartreuse glitter of my dreams like I thought it was going to be, but I'm not mad at it. Lastly, let's take Cube, that really pretty white color that I think has a pink purple shift to it, and go into my brow bone. And when I'm doing a brow bone shade, I don't like to take it across the whole brow bone. I start at my arch, wiggle it around, make sure it blends a little with the shade, with the transition or crease shade you put down. I don't take it to my tail, and I certainly don't bring it in any further. So, these two shades here, Electric and Cube, are definitely more subdued. They're lighter metallics. You're not gonna get a huge color payoff with them. I'm interested to try them on the lid because I can't really see this or this taking center stage like the way Adorn does on the lid, which really shows up quite well. All right, you guys. Yes. I'm gonna go finish the rest of my face and I will be back with my final thoughts. All right, you guys, this is the final look. I decided to go crazy and pair a dark berry lip with it. I loved how it played off of the darker shades, the more warm tone berry shades under my lash line. I know a lot of people wouldn't pair this lip with this eye, but I'm a little cuckoo. I do notice the shades in my crease oxidized a little. The New Wave and the mustard shade Edge. When I went back to put my whole rest of my face on, I looked in the mirror again and I was like, that looks a little darker than when I first put it on. Now, I don't know if that's because I blended it with the darker Axis and Untamed shades, or if it's genuinely oxidizing as time goes on. I'm not sure, but it is one little thing that I noticed when I was doing the rest of my face. Here's the tea. I've never seen such a low rating for a product on Sephora.com that was from a major brand, a major product, something highly talked about. I read a lot of Sephora.com reviews. So that's a pretty big bummer. That means that a lot of people spent their hard-earned money on this palette. It didn't work out for them. And that is a huge shame, and there's no denying that. It's very clear to me that some people got a good palette and some people got a bad palette. I consider myself very fortunate. I'm very happy because I love the colors in this palette and I can see myself wearing this palette very, very often. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that the people that are complaining about the palette being patchy, not blending, the shadows mixing weird together, that doesn't mean they're lying. I have seen it on camera, I've seen it in real time. I just happen to get a good palette. I'm very happy about that, obviously, because I really loved the way this palette worked. Overall, I'm impressed. I'm gonna give this palette 6 brushes out of 10. I was really tempted to give it a 7 or 8, but just because I know that the issues with this palette that everyone else is having are real, I don't feel like I can give this palette a higher rating. And the fallout issues, yikes. I love the colors, the pigmentation, and I had no problem blending these shadows out together, whatever you have. One last thing I wanted to mention that I noticed right away when this palette came out, these shades are very similar to the Jeffree Star Androgyny palette. I've seen a lot of comparisons. I don't think they stole his idea, but it is rather close for these very unique shades. So that's just something I wanted to mention. I'm not saying anything one way or the other, but it's interesting. Sound off in the comments down below. Let me know if you have this palette, if you experienced any of the issues that other people were experiencing, or if you had a similar experience that I had, which was very positive for the most part. I'm very interested in hearing what you guys have to say about this. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at LaurenMarieNYC, and I'll see you guys next week.